Testing, testing. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we recognize our chaplain of the day, Dr. Reginald Boyce of Riverside Missionary Baptist Church, invited by our very own Councilman Edmund Ford Sr., but I see Council Lady Johnson will be standing in for him. The prayer will be immediately followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. Dr. Boyce, please lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. Master, we pause today just to say thank you for allowing us to gather. And now, God, we pray for peace and we pray for prosperity. The word teaches us in Jeremiah that we ought to build buildings, we ought to plant vineyards, we ought to extend the family and pray for the wealth of the family, but also the prosperity of the land, prosperity of our government, peace for the government. Pray today, God, for your peace and your direction, that you'll guide us now. We also lift up Councilman Ford. Pray for his healing. We pray for strength. And we pray for this body. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Councilman Canale, lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Council Lady Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Dr. Reginald Boyce, it is a pleasure to see you, first of all. It is a pleasure. We are most appreciative of the services which you provide to this city, and we appreciate you coming today, giving us those words of inspiration and blessing us. And I'm also here to present a resolution to you on behalf of Councilman Edmund Ford, who is not able to be here. But if he was here, he would say this. The city of Memphis, Tennessee, by the City Council, greetings. Be it hereby known that Dr. Reginald Boyce, in recognition of a life of exemplary qualities, outstanding services to the city, meritorious involvement in humanitarian affairs, and demonstrated concern for governmental processes, has been appointed chaplain of the day of the Memphis City Council. And he is hereby entitled to all the honors, rights, privileges, and prerogatives pertaining to the office, and he's able to display of this certificate, given under seal this day, the 7th day of September, 2021. Chairman Frank Covette, presented by Edmund Ford, Senior, member of the City Council. Again, it is such an honor for you to come and be with us and share with us those words, and we wish you the best. We have this, and we're totally appreciation.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Boyce. So moved, without objection, passed. Thank you. Doctor, thank you so much for leading us out. It's a crazy world, and your words of comfort, I think, set us kind of on the right path. I do appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Okay, Madam Comptroller, roll call.
Councilmember Canale.
Here.
Carlisle.
Here.
Easter Thomas. Ford.
Present.
Johnson. Jones.
Here.
Logan.
Present.
Morgan.
Here.
Robinson. Smiley.
I'm here.
Vice Chairwoman Swearingen.
Present.
Warren.
Present.
Chairman Covette.
I am present.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Madam Vice Chairman, have you had a moment to read our August 17th meeting minutes?
I have read the minutes and find them to be in order, and I move for the adoption of the August 17 meeting minutes.
All right, could you do that electronically?
Thank you.
Been moved by Vice Chair Lady Swearingen, second by Councilman Morgan. Seeing no members of the queue, assume you're ready to vote on previous meeting minutes. Please prepare the screen. And cast your votes. Thank you.
Canale, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. We'll show you voted yes.
Carlisle is a yes. That item passes. Ladies and gentlemen, before I begin our meeting, I just wanted to have a couple of points. I want to recognize the life and career of Ted Anderson, who is Hamilton High School's basketball coach for many decades. How many state finalists? Yeah, we didn't want to play him. Unfortunately, Coach Anderson passed, and we want to honor him and recognize him via the City Council. We'll have a resolution coming forward from Councilman Smiley at the appropriate time. Also, I would like just a moment of silence for our U.S. service members that were killed in the Afghanistan war, and just a moment of silence, please. Amen. All right. Welcome to September 7th, 2021 regular meeting of the Memphis City Council. A notice of the meeting was placed on the City Council webpage regarding how the public may electronically access the meeting and a recording of the meeting and how to provide written comments concerning any agenda item or any matter prior to this meeting. Public comments were to be submitted to the Memphis City Council 24 hours prior to today's meeting. Vice Chair Lady Swearingen will read those comments at the appropriate time. She will only read the comments that include the requisite information, which was the person's name and address. Incomplete comments or those received late will be sent to the council records and placed on file. That being said, also, this being COVID, I'm going to ask just nicely at this point, can we all spread out just a little bit? If you see a red tag on your chair, please do not sit in that chair. Everybody, let's spread out just a little bit. There you go. Let's not sit on any red tags, please. There you go. Okay, holds. There's only one item to be held today. That is item 25 on your agenda. If you're here for item 25, which I doubt any of you are, that will not be heard today. Also, our same night minutes, just a heads up, are items 11 through 17 and 28 through 51. I believe there was maybe another item for same night minutes, but we'll cross that bridge. Number 10. Number 10 is same night, we'll be requesting same night minutes. That being said, we're ready to go. And number 7 is also a same night minutes. Everybody's being tough on me today. Got it? Ready to go? Madam Comptroller, call item number 1, please.
Item number 1 is a resolution recognizing Jessica Ramsey for her participation in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Jones.
Councilman Jones, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. Colleagues, whereas on occasion the Memphis City Council sees fit to honor those who have done extraordinary things, and Jessica Ramsey, a 2020 Olympic Games played in 2021, of course, shot put competitor, is certainly worthy of this distinction. Whereas Jessica Ramsey, a native of Boynton Beach, Florida, relocated to Memphis following a job transfer and trained in the area in preparation for the Tokyo Olympic Games. And whereas Jessica Ramsey, a graduate of Western Kentucky University, holds school records in the women's shot put, hammer, weight throw, and discus, as well as being a 7-time Sun Belt champion, placing first in indoor and outdoor shot put in 2013 and 2014, and in discus, hammer, and weight throw in 2014, as well as being the first Western Kentucky University track and field student athlete to qualify for the NCAA Outdoor Championships and at least 3 individual events during her senior year in 2014. And whereas in June 2021, Jessica Ramsey qualified to represent Team USA in the shot put at the Tokyo Olympics by placing first at the U.S. Olympic Trials Championship in Eugene, Oregon, with a throw of 20.12 meters, which is 66 feet and a quarter inch, which was a personal best as well as a new meet record. In Tokyo, Jessica went on to qualify for the shot put finals at the Olympic Games, finishing in the top 12 in the competition. Whereas in addition to her spectacular feat of competing in the Olympic Games, Jessica Ramsey also gives back to her community, serving as a court-appointed special advocate for CASA of Lafayette County, Mississippi, an organization which helps children involved in the foster care and court systems, and as a volunteer assistant coach for the throws group of the University of Memphis track and field. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Memphis City Council does join with family, friends, and the entire community in Memphis and beyond in recognizing and congratulating Jessica Ramsey for participation in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games representing Team USA in the shot put, adopted on August 17th, 2021, by Councilman Martavius Jones, Frank Colbeck, Chairman. And I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved. Oh, let's do this. Jessica, would you like to say a couple of words? But before, I need to ask you a couple of questions. How much does a shot put weigh?
8.8 pounds.
8.8 pounds. And you hurled that how far?
66 feet.
66 feet. Well done. Well done. I remember when we were happy with 30 feet. Well done. I congratulate you. I congratulate you on working so hard and being so committed for such a long time to a goal and to represent our great country at Tokyo. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. I'm nervous.
You okay?
I'm nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous.
Well, I thank everyone for their support and love, not being from Memphis. So a lot of the schools and everyone here has been welcoming. So that's been amazing for me. So can't wait for Paris 2024.
There you go. Well done. It's been moved by Councilman Jones, seconded by your chairman, Frank Colbeck. Seeing no opposition, this moves by acclamation. Thank you. Madam Comptroller, call item number 2.
Item number 2 is a resolution honoring and congratulating Mr. John Patrick Thornton for his record of athletic achievements within the world of professional golf, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Councilwoman Swearingen.
Councilor Swearingen, you're recognized.
We have all these great people among us today. Whereas, when worthy circumstances arise, the Memphis City Council has seen fit to honor citizens of this community. The athletic achievements of Mr. John Patrick Thornton within the world of professional golf, representing one of these worthy occasions. And whereas immensely talented and imbued by God-given abilities, Mr. Thornton has distinguished himself at every level within the greatest game. And whereas born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, Mr. Thornton began playing golf at the age of 7 and exhibited unique skills from the start to this point. He's done this for many, many years. He was competing nationally in amateur events, making his hometown proud via his invitation to join the Tiger Woods Foundation National Golf Team. Subsequently, advancing to the nation's Junior World Golf Championship and the U.S. Amateur Public Links Championship, all before receiving and accepting a full scholarship to play collegiate golf at Texas Southern University, where his winning ways continue. In fact, as a TSU Tiger, Mr. Thornton earned all conference honors, captured in 2007 Southwestern Athletic Conference Championship team, and made an appearance in the NCAA Regional Championship. And whereas always one to forge his path, Mr. Thornton combined experiences, success, challenges, and all. They have informed and now transformed him to touring professionally. That's what he does today. Whereas guided by faith and driven to perform at highest levels, Mr. Thornton's recent journey was seeing him play in the WNB Golf Classic. He earned his first professional victory as part of the APG Tour at TPC Sugarloaf, gained a sponsorship from Veritex Bank, and showcased his technical acumen as the in-studio broadcast analyst for the PGA Tours. Covered his third, fourth rounds of the TPC Colorado Championship, all while working towards his ultimate goal of playing on the PGA Tour. And whereas in the meantime, Mr. Thornton finds immense fulfillment in leveraging his role as a professional golfer to advocate for increased diversity within the game, namely through player development and mentoring programs that introduce the sport to minority youth across the country. And whereas upon reviewing Mr. Thornton's dedication, his craft coupled with his dedication to illuminating the lives of others through athletics, we now wish to celebrate him in kind for serving as a beacon of light within our community. Therefore, be it resolved that the Memphis City Council gladly honors and congratulates Mr. John Patrick Thornton for his record of athletic achievements within the world of professional golf. We thank him for his contributions to the city of Memphis and entreat citizens everywhere to emulate his determination within their lives. Given by my hand under the Great Seal of Memphis, the 7th day of September 2021, signed by Jamita Swearingen, Vice Chair of the Memphis City Council. And he has with him his lovely wife, and his daughter is present. Thank you so much for your contribution. We're so proud of you. But I'd like to share this with you as well as a token of our appreciation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the city council for the amazing honor. I'm truly humbled and I am blessed for this reward. And I just want to continue to do my work as playing professional golf and constantly continue to increase diversity in the game. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Madam moved by Vice Chair Swearingen, second by Colvette. Seeing no opposition, moved by acclamation, accepted. Madam Comptroller, call item 3.
Item number 3 is a resolution approving a special use permit at the subject property located at 3521 Lamar Avenue. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from August 17th, case number SUP 21-12.
Thank you very much. Councilman Canale?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee met, recommend approval. And with that, I move it to the floor.
Been moved by Councilman Canale, seconded by Councilman Jones. I see no members in the queue, so I assume you're ready to vote on item 3. Administrator Whitehead, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hold the screen.
Whitehead with the Division of Planning and Development. During the discussion upstairs during committee, there was talk of adding conditions related to the streetscaping along Lamar, brick along the facades, and the lighting. And so we have memorialized that, and I have hard copies for those members of the dais who would like to see, as new conditions 3, 6, and 7. So if we can get a motion to amend, that'll concrete these in.
Gotcha. Councilman Carlisle, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move these amendments as proposed.
I have a motion to amend. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been moved to properly second. Is there any objection? Seeing no objection, it is considered friendly amendment and thus added. Seeing no other members in the queue, I assume you're ready to vote on item 3 as amended. Please cast your votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
That item passes. Thank you. Please call item 4.
Item number 4 is a resolution approving a special use permit for a planned commercial development at 2977 Broad Avenue. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from August 17th. The case number is PD 21-15.
Thank you very much, Councilman Canali.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This case was heard upstairs in committee. We gave it no recommendation, but with that, I'll move it to the floor for discussion purposes.
Been moved by Councilman Canali, seconded by Councilman Warren. I see Councilman Carlisle's in the queue. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a lot of discussion upstairs. There are several things that I still think would like to be moved into the plan development itself. But in addition to that, with us having to change our protocol for the chambers, some residents of Binghamton were not able to access that notice. And so they would like the opportunity to at least be either in the chamber or time to submit public comment on this case. And with that being said, I think it's reasonable to hold this item for the next council meeting. So I move.
I have a motion to hold. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Councilman Carlisle Canali. Is there any objection to the hold? Seeing none, let's hold this case for 2 weeks. We'll see you back, Mr. Benke, Mr. Dedrick, 2 weeks. Madam Comptroller, call item 5.
Item number 5 is a resolution approving the Vega Plan Development located on the east side of Charles Bryan Road and north of Elmore Road. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. It was held from August 17th. The case number is PD 21-22.
Thank you very much, Councilman Canali.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This case was heard at the August 17 meeting. And when we got downstairs with it, there were some questions on design to the applicant, and he was not here to answer those, so we held those. But with that, I'll move it to the floor for discussion purposes.
Been moved by Councilman Canali, second by Council Lady Johnson. Council Lady Logan's in the queue. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I did meet with the team, and they answered the questions that I had, but I did note in reviewing that there was a note about the sewage and how it would be designed or not designed. Can you elaborate on that? I didn't get to ask that when we were meeting, and thank you again for meeting with
So we're going to work with city engineering. We'll end up having a tank there, and we'll be pumping it off peak hours. But we'll get approval by them before we can actually tie into it. But we've actually reached out with Baden, with the engineering department.
Okay, so you do plan to tie in? Okay, all right, thank you.
All right. Councilman Carlisle, you're recognized.
Sorry, I just want to follow up so I'm clear. So you're going to tie into the city sewer system. Why the storage tank?
It's in the Fletcher Creek Basin, and it's overpassing.
Got it. Thank you. All right, it's in the basin. Perfect. All right, appreciate you.
You good? Seeing no members in the queue, soon be ready to vote on item 5, moved by Canali, seconded by Johnson. Please prepare the screen. Cast your votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
Thank you very much. That item passes. Call item 6.
Item number 6 is a resolution approving the East End Village Plan Development at the subject property located at 5476 5486 and 5502 Park Avenue. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. The case number is PD 21-19.
Thank you very much, Councilman Canale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This case was heard upstairs and received a favorable recommendation. And with that, I move it to the floor.
Been moved by Councilman Canale, second by Councilor Johnson. Councilman Morgan, you're in the queue. You're recognized.
Thank you very much. I just had one question for the applicant. If we can go to the map that shows all the houses, is essentially, I agree with this development. I agree where this is going, especially for that side of the street. Everything east of the Monarch and north of Park, those houses probably are going to go all the way. They're all going to go the way of this development. Has there been any attempt by the developer, instead of just placing right in the middle, but also just being able to expand or grab some more of those properties, or are those residents resistant to selling?
Cindy Reeves, SR Consulting, 5909 Shelby Oaks Drive, Suite 200. Actually, whenever we originally filed this plan development, it was just 2 lots, and we reached out to the property owner to the west, and so that allowed us to expand it to the west. We are in communication, or, if this is successful and works, we definitely would like to expand it to the west. The properties to the east, they are in a subdivision that has a restriction that they cannot be re-subdivided. So they're going to have a moratorium of the majority of those 8 owners. So.
Okay. Okay. But the properties to the west, if we were to approve this today, could be amended into the plan, or would y'all come back to us, or would y'all just file that with Josh's office for administrative amendment?
No, sir. We would file a PD phase 2.
Okay.
A new PD that would cover that area. And that's the reason that the stud street is there also.
Okay. I think this development's going to be a little bit of a fish out of water out of the gate, but eventually it's going to look like this and the same as developments across the street, and that's a good use for this property as long as everybody's willing to put up with the noise of the train. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Morgan. Seeing no other members in the queue, assuming you're ready to vote on item 6, please cast your votes. Moved by Canale, seconded by Johnson.
Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Call item 7.
Item number 7 is a resolution approving the Caroline Code Plan development at the subject property located at 131 Marne Road. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Planning and Development. There is a request for same night minutes. The case number is PD 21-26.
Councilman Canale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This case was heard upstairs and received a favorable recommendation. With that, I move to the floor.
Been moved by Councilman Canale, second by Council Lady Johnson. Seeing no members in the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 7, same night minutes. Please prepare the screen, cast your votes.
Thank you. Canale, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Please call our consent agenda.
I'll take us to item number 8, an ordinance up for second reading, affecting all council districts. Ordinance number 5795 is sponsored by Councilman Ford, Smiley, and Colvett. Item number 9 is a resolution accepting final plat entitled Callis Cutoff Phase 6, PD 16-08, and authorizing release of the cash bond in the amount of $143,700. The contract number is CR-5259. Item number 10 is a resolution approving the engineering plans entitled Homes Airways Boulevard parcel number 0944 0000161. The contract number is CR-5378, and I believe there's a request for same-night minutes for this item. Item number 11 is a resolution approving the engineering plans entitled Princeton Heights LLC. Item number 12 is a resolution approving the engineering plans entitled Phase 1 Highland Streetscapes. The contract number is CR-5380. Item number 13 is a resolution approving the engineering plans entitled North Front Street Infrastructure Improvements, and that contract number is CR-5381. If the staff can confirm if there are no consent agenda items on the add-ons? Pardon me? Thank you very much. 10, 11, 12, and 13 on this consent agenda for same-night minutes, and that concludes the item, sir.
Confirmed. Been moved by Swearingen, Vice Chair Lady Swearingen, second by Councilman Jones. Seeing no members in the queue, I assume you're ready to vote. On our consent agenda, please prepare the screen
Thank you.
and cast your votes.
Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Kovett, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Please call our fiscal consent agenda.
All same-night minutes. Item number 14 is a resolution seeking acceptance of funds from the state of Tennessee in the amount of $1,515,200, specifically for the in-service training program for training of 1,894 commissioned officers. Project number PD 90248. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services, all council districts. Request for same-night minutes. Item number 15 is a resolution seeking acceptance of reimbursement in the amount of $2,200,000 from the Shelby County 911 Emergency Communications District Board of Directors to Memphis Police Emergency Communications 911 Bureau. Reimbursement is used to procure a Hexagon on-call hosted CAD upgrade. This resolution is sponsored by Police Services, all council districts. Request for same-night minutes. Item number 16 is a resolution to accept additional grant funds in the amount of $469,319 from the Tennessee Department of Transportation. Amendment number 2 is to provide additional construction funding for the STP Group 6 resurfacing project. That project number is PW01264. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. The council districts are 3, 4, 5, super districts 8 and 9. There's a request for same-night minutes. Item number 17 is a resolution to accept reimbursement funding in the amount of $79,968.87 from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for Champlain Towers collapse. This resolution is sponsored by Fire Services, all council districts, and there's a request for same-night minutes. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our fiscal consent agenda items.
Thank you very much, Madam Comptroller. It's been moved by Councilman Jones, second by Council Lady Johnson. Seeing no members of the queue, assume you're ready to vote on our fiscal consent agenda. Please prepare the screen and cast your votes.
Thank you. Canale, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Kovett, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Please call our MLG&W fiscal consent agenda.
That will take us to item number 18, a resolution awarding contract number 12297, VMware 3-year enterprise license agreement to Thomas Galloway Corporation, doing business as Technologent, in the funded amount of $3,095,009.08. Item number 19 is a resolution awarding purchase order to Global Power Component for prefabricated steel modular equipment enclosure in the amount of $433,816. Item number 20 is a resolution approving change number 2 to contract number 12183, Synergy Gas Modeling Software Renewal with DNVGL Noble Denton USA LLC in the funded amount of $27,524.76. Item number 21 is a resolution awarding contract number 12314, broker of record for cyber insurance and other insurance coverages to Willis Towers Watson Southeast Incorporated in the funded amount of $118,500. Item number 22 is a resolution awarding contract number 12158, self-insured healthcare to Cigna in the estimated funded amount of $95,918,005. Item number 23 is a resolution approving change number 1 to contract number 12218, Power Supply Consultant solicitation with GDS Associates, Inc. in the funded amount of $50,000. Mr. Chairman, that concludes our MLGW fiscal consent items.
Thank you very much. Been moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Morgan. Seeing no members of the queue, I assume you're ready to vote on our MLGW fiscal consent agenda. Please press the screen. And cast your votes.
Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Swearingen, yes. Walling, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Thank you. That item passes. Madam Comptroller, refresh my memory. That was moved by Jones and seconded by Morgan. Just making sure.
Jones and Morgan. That's correct, sir.
Jones and Morgan. Okay. That concludes our MLGW fiscal consent. Got most of our business out of the way, so let's go right at it. Get everybody in here. Let's go with item 51. I believe that is the American Rescue Plan Act allocation.
Item number 51. Did you say ARPA?
Yes, 51 on your add-on speaks to Juneteenth. That is incorrect. 51,
Thank you very
we
much.
held Juneteenth. 51 is actually ARPA.
Okay.
All right.
I am not quite sure what my item is, because it does say June 19th.
Item 51 is a resolution for the American Rescue Plan allocation. All council districts sponsored by the administration. There's a request for same night minutes.
Thank you for reading that agenda, sir.
All right. Love how that team works. All right. As we admitted it upstairs, can I get a motion and a second to put it on the floor? I need a digital. All right, it's been moved by Council Dr. Warren and seconded by Councilman Morgan. We're now on the floor. I'd like to go ahead and start by recognizing Chief Shirley Ford. You're recognized. Clear the screen, please.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be in front of you today. I would just like to offer a few comments for you in regard to your ARPA consideration today. If you recall, during our FY22 budget process, it was approved by Council that in order to present a balanced budget for the general fund, that we would approve a budget use of approximately $53 million in unassigned fund balance, with the intention of amending the budget upon approval of the ARPA funding. The FY20 unassigned fund balance was approximately $79 million, and with an anticipated break even for FY21, the use of $23 million in FY22 would bring the unassigned fund balance to approximately $56 million, the lowest balance in unassigned fund balance since fiscal year 2013. An unassigned fund balance of $79 million would represent an approximate $11 million 11% of the general fund budgeted expenditures, which is also the lowest percentage since FY13, and 1% over the minimum target of 10%. and our plan. The unassigned fund balance has a material impact on the bond rating considerations for the city, as well as being an important component of the state's review of the city's general fund budget. While I advised you and informed you during the FY22 budget hearings that the city's latest bond rating presentation, as such, the city was not penalized for its planned use of unassigned fund balance. I am not sure it would be viewed upon with the same favor if the city bypassed the opportunity to stabilize its budget through available and allowable revenue replacement. For your consideration in FY22 and FY23, the increase in sales tax for the FY21 budget was unexpected. However, in FY22, we budgeted for that increase, so the increased levels are a component of the FY22 approved budget. I would also remind you that the increase to the Memphis Fire Division last year was a 2-year consideration for a 3% increase in pay. The estimated budget impact for for FY23 budget is at approximately $3.9 million. A like percentage increase for MPD would value in at approximately $5.3 million. I would also like to remind you that funding for MATA for FY21 and FY22 had been reduced by $10 million since MATA also had temporary federal funding. So the FY22 general fund adopted budget of approximately $716 million was already reduced by $10 million in expenditures for MATA. I would like to share with you a quote from the interim final rule. State government tax revenues from major sources were down 4.3% in the 6 months ended September of 2020 relative to the same period of 2019. At the local level, nearly 90% of cities have reported being less able to meet the fiscal needs of their communities. And on average, cities expect a double-digit decline in general fund revenues in their fiscal year 2021. For us, the City of Memphis FY22 general budget of $716 million is $7 million less than the FY21 adopted budget of $723 million. These budget shortfalls are particularly problematic in the current environment as governments work to mitigate and contain the COVID-19 pandemic. This source of federal funding also allows recipients facing budget shortfalls to use payments from ARPA to continue to provide valuable services and ensure that fiscal austerity measures do not hamper the broader economic recovery. And as you have heard since our administration's first proposal and on numerous occasions since, there is a great need for funding across our city that can be directly attributed to the impact of COVID-19. And I realize the great importance of your approval of funding request. However, as the CFO for the city, I implore you to reconsider any reductions of potential revenue replacement to the city. It is also your responsibility to work with the administration and others in providing a sustainable foundation for a strong, equitable economic recovery, not only by providing economic stabilization to households, city community assets, and our nonprofit partners, but also by addressing the systemic economic challenges within our city operational structure. We have faced 2 consecutive years of austerity and deep cuts in our budgeting with the potential of additional challenges to our FY23 operating budgets. And I will also add that the broadband infrastructure initiative looks like an easy target for reduction, but please be mindful of the restrictions on that funding and that the funding may not occur. And with additional cuts to the proposed funding, we may not be able to fund the great divide in the communities where it is most needed. I certainly applaud this body on being thoughtful and deliberate in your decisions. And I want to share with you that the proposal presented to you by the administration already had tremendous internal compromises. We asked the city division leaders to bring us their ideas on programs and how they can and will be impacted by COVID-19. Those leaders brought to us approximately $250 million in ask, which did not include revenue replacement, the council initiatives, or premium pay to employees. So many of those that we have brought to you have already been dramatically compromised and cut into what we thought would be the most holistic presentation and opportunity for ARPA funding. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you, and I will now turn over to Chief McGowan.
Chief, you're recognized.
Thanks, Chief Ford. Thank you, Council. Just wanted to put a point of emphasis to a few things that Chief Ford mentioned. This has been a compromise. The presentation that we gave to you, more than $200 million. What you see before you is $73 million that has been realized from those recommendations from our divisions because there was fully $80+ million of revenue replacement, broadband, council initiatives, and premium pay that were not contemplated there. So we have done our level best to try to apportion that against the greatest need. But I also want to mention that in addition to a compromise, many of those are leading investments. When we asked you all to invest in Regional 1, their need was great. You decided to approve a leading investment of $2 million that was followed immediately by your partners across the street of $3.6 million, with promise for even more coming in the spring. The mayor's investment into Boys and Girls Clubs of $9 million will yield 10 high schools worth of Boys and Girls Clubs. In our conversations with Shelby County Schools and their leaders, they said we would love to be able to expand to all of our high schools. The mayor's is a leading investment. As I mentioned to you this morning, there is more than $680 million of other ARPA money that rests with other legislative bodies in the city, and we're hopeful that they will follow our leading investment in helping us to expand those kinds of opportunities. More than that, our broadband investment is again a leading investment. We have some in Accelerate Memphis, but also 20 million proposed, but we know the need is greater than that in our city. You have set the bar for leadership by the actions you have taken, and that leadership has been followed by other legislative leaders in our community, and we'll hope that you'll take that same approach, just as we did when we put into place universal needs-based pre-K. The city led with a $6 million annual investment, followed by our partners at the county and the school systems. And so it dawns on me that we have been talking a lot about the fact that the city is part of a county and that we pay taxes and for that government as well. And that we have a good model here. And some of the recommendations that I heard from council this morning, I appreciate the intent and I appreciate the impact that they could have. But I do see that we have a model here that we could make some leading investments. We have one for a homeless initiative that would fully fund the entirety of a homeless initiative, and there really wouldn't be a chance for anybody to match us on that. So a thought as we are moving to find a way to allocate all this money is that perhaps we relook at the amounts and see if there's the possibility for us to make, rather than the full investment, a leading investment for which others can come behind who were blessed with more riches in ARPA than were we. So with that, I'll pause and say that we are thankful for all the inputs, and we're happy to work with you to help get this across the finish line and to get these initiatives implemented so that they can benefit the city. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, at this juncture, as we talked about in executive, before we start diving into the council amendments that were brought forward this morning, I have a question of Chief, and then I'll go to Councilman Carlisle. Last year, we were blessed that sales tax revenue caught up pretty fast. But we're saying that this year, because of what this council is committed to in terms of where we place the money, that, I mean, the odds of taxes catching that this time are slim to none. Is that kind of the simple answer?
Thank you, Chairman. The increase in the sales tax was budgeted and baked in as a component of the FY '22 budget, so it's already in there.
So it's already gone? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's exactly what I'm gonna do, so jump in the queue. Yeah, if you have questions, let me be very clear. If you have questions of the chiefs at this point, council members, jump in the queue. There you go, jump on in. Last question, Chief McGowan. We have is it 25 or 20 million in broadband?
I believe it's 20 million in the,
It was 25, we cut that, correct?
we did.
Okay, we cut that 20%-ish. All right, where are we lightest in broadband? In other words, where is our need the greatest, roughly
So
speaking?
there's approximately, the initial survey that we did was about 37% of the community has a gap in its broadband access. It is likely in the areas where, the areas are where you would likely expect, where the private sector cannot find a business case to put high-speed broadband. What that means is that it is in our poorest communities where we have the gap. If I was to show you a map, you would see that it's mostly located on the western part of our city, mostly in the northern part of the west side and the southern part of our west side, mostly in District 8 if I was to draw the council map. There are some pockets in District 9 on the east side, but the very vast majority of the gap in broadband is on the western side of our city, mostly in the neighborhoods where they need it the most.
All right, thank you, Chief. Reminder to our colleagues, let's begin now and direct our questions at Chief McGowan. Chief, for Councilman Carlisle, you're recognized.
Thank you. Chief McGowan, you were saying that another elected body in this area got a huge sum of money that we now have to go ask for respectfully instead of one body controlling it. Just want to be clear, we're making a case for one governmental system. Just so we're clear. Literally a problem that we can't solve today because, anyway.
You're a salesman, sir.
I guess it's a lesson in leadership, when you don't have all of the authority, but you still get the results that you're accountable for. And so that's what we're suggesting.
There we go.
We don't have all the authority, but we can get results if we lead the way.
There you go. This is just a general statement. I'll be very quick because I want to hear everybody else's. I know this is going to last a while. I like to think that I'm very reasonable. I'm very open to hearing everybody's needs or the things that they're very passionate about and trying to be as supportive as I possibly can be. But I'm going to draw a hard line in the sand for me because I've yet to hear a financial case or something that seemingly comes across as responsible if we go anywhere near revenue replacement, the construction cost accelerator, or the city assets. I've yet to hear a single person make a reasonable, financially responsible argument that we should dive into those coffers. I personally, and I know Councilman Ford is not here, but I'm going to be fully supportive of home repairs and broadband infrastructure. I find it comical if we give $5 million to laptops last year, talk about how people needed Wi-Fi, MOFIs in their home, and now we have an opportunity to fund probably those same communities with broadband and we reverse course. If there are funds left over from broadband that we don't need, we can always reappropriate that money. We do it every year at the end of fiscal years. People have pet projects or things that they want to get done, and there's some left over. We can do that. We don't have to spend all of that money. Group violence intervention, public safety, and the Boys and Girls Club. Other than that, I'm all ears to hear these things, but I really hope that after being 2 years on this body, listening to the things that are important to people, we stick to those guns. I'm very supportive of Councilwoman Logan's plan to fund a satellite hub for homelessness because we've talked so much for 2 years about homelessness, right? But I think Chief McGowan makes a fair point that we should at least, like we did with the original hospitality hub, I think the City Council funded the hub with a $250,000 community impact fund, and then the money started coming. So, but for me, those are the 5 or 6 things where there's just no way, and I'm only one of 13, and I want to be supportive, but I won't vote for a single nickel of ARPA going out the door if we start carving up the things that are absolutely financially responsible things to do, both in the short term and the long term. With that, I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilman Carl. Councilman Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. McGowan, you talked about the compromise being made amongst the departments, but that compromise wasn't any talk of compromise with the council, because it's ultimately the council that says yes or nay. So I think this is the point where the council weighs in. The compromise took place with the administration, but this is the opportunity for the compromise to take place with the council. If the council just on a wholesale basis approves this, that's no compromise. That's the administration handing us what their recommendations are. We approving it. That's not compromise. My second point, this is for Ms. Ford. We anticipated a sales tax increase for this year based upon what we saw last year. Have we received any of those sales tax monies from for this year, in this fiscal year?
We receive those monies every month.
Every month.
Yes.
So have they been greater than what we budgeted, or have they been below, or have they been the same?
They have been on target with what we have budgeted.
Okay, great.
Yes.
That's so they've been on target with that.
Yes, sir.
Now, respectfully, Mr. Carlisle, I still, from a revenue replacement standpoint, if we took action to generate sufficient revenue, there would be no revenue to replace. We didn't do that. Now, it can be a philosophical discussion about this, but to say that there's a particular pot of money that's sacrosanct and we're not going to touch, I'd say if my whole point in budget was for us to address what would be ongoing financial needs, and we will have them on an ongoing basis. But the way, in my philosophical standpoint on this, we don't address those needs with one-time money. We will have ongoing capital requirements. We'll have ongoing needs to have our fund reserve balance at a certain level. But do we use one-time money to do that? I would say no. But with this one-time money, we do not have an opportunity. When we talk about our general fund, year by year, every day that we operate the business of the city of Memphis, we generally don't have opportunities to put money in people's pockets to really help them where it really matters. When we're talking about utility assistance, when we're talking about helping small businesses, when we're talking about helping the tourism industry, when we're talking about helping restaurants, so on and so forth, we generally don't have that talk with general fund money because it's generally is not permissible for us to do that. But we can have what's before us now, what each of us has provided, are one-time, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for us to make real impacts in this community and address those and have that money to hit the ground for the people who really need the help. What the administration brought to us didn't include that. When we made the CARES Act revisions, and even with this one, that was nothing for small businesses. This one didn't include anything for small businesses. Yeah, there are some things that were addressed this go around that were not addressed the second go around. But I still would contend for us to have the money to help people at the most molecular level down, putting money in people's pockets. What was presented to us did not include that. What we've come up with have been recommendations to do so. So I respect the compromise that the administration had amongst themselves, but the compromise needed to take place with this council. And what we've presented is that, in my opinion, is that compromise that I think we seek. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councilman Jones. Councilman Morgan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The services the city provides are services that the people really need. If there are services that we are providing that people don't need, then I would argue maybe we don't need to be doing them, or certainly not doing it with taxpayer money. So when we talk about revenue replacement in our budget and making sure that the health of the city budget is intact, it's all to make sure that we can deliver the services that the people really need. One quick question to Chief Ford. Has the state, and I don't know the answers, has the state comptroller approved our budget yet?
We have not received approval of the FY22 budget as of yet.
Would the reduction of $20 million in revenue replacement jeopardize in your opinion, the state comptroller's approval?
I cannot say that. I will say that when we presented our budget to the state comptroller's office and met with them, that we gave them the caveat that we did not include any ARPA replacement money, as that had not been approved by council yet, but that it was anticipated there would be an element of revenue replacement from ARPA funding.
Okay. Council members, in about 3.5 years, the city of Memphis is going to have a lot more operating funding than it has now. And it goes back to the discussion that we had with that debt cliff that we're facing. And we took out about $200 million in debt in, I think that was February or March, and we put off the payment on that debt for a while, but we still have a significant debt cliff coming that is going to free up about $60 million in new revenue to be spent on operating budgets. I do not believe that we need to have a tax increase right now at this moment to have sufficient revenue to cover all of our expenses. We can be conservative and we can be wise and prudent. And the next mayor, the next city council is going to have an enormous windfall of revenue that we won't have to adjust the tax rate back for. That can stay in the city coffers and can be spent. And I think it is a burden and a responsibility placed upon this council to manage the city as best we can until that financial windfall. We know it's coming. We can see it coming. And along with Councilman Carlisle, I've mentioned I have a couple sacred cows in this, and one of them is revenue replacement. Now, that is a bill that we owe unless we want to raise taxes to cover that offset. We need to keep that reserve fund in good health and in good standing with the state guidelines. The other would be public safety initiatives. There was very little that was taken out, $3 million total, it looks like, from public safety initiatives. I think that can be covered by the council initiatives and what hasn't been taken out of there. And then I would still have questions to come about some of these council amendments and their impact by COVID, and some of them I'm just not familiar with, and I'd like to learn more about, and it sounds like we're going to be going through them. But before all, that revenue replacement has to be kept whole, and I think is maybe the most important part of this entire ARPA spending in terms of our fiscal responsibilities as the City Council of Memphis. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I look forward to hearing from other people as well.
Thank you, Councilman Moore. Councilor Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. My question is to Chief McGowan. We talk about broadband. What is the estimated cost to provide broadband to the level that we want the city to be at?
So it's a bit of a broad question, but I'll do my best. There are several different models that you could use. One would be kind of a whole new citywide system that was, like Chattanooga did through their public utility. That would be hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. The other end of that is just to find the areas of the city where there are gaps. The estimate for some of those is about $36 million, and that doesn't really cover all of it. It's more like $60 million to get the gaps that we know that exist, and that just provides the access past those households. If we want to provide fiber to the home, it would be slightly more than that. So the range is between hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to do something all the way across the city to $60 million-ish to catch those areas up that we know need funding. And that's why we allocated originally 7.5 from Accelerate Memphis, and we had 20 million here to get us underway and started with that.
Okay, where were you anticipating getting the remainder?
So again, every resident of the city of Memphis is a resident of Shelby County, Tennessee. Most of the people that have the most urgent need have children, and we were hopeful that our partners at the schools and Shelby County would be supportive of our recommendation. Also, the state of Tennessee received $3.6 billion of ARPA infrastructure money, or excuse me, of ARPA money, and they allocated 500 million, as I mentioned this morning, to broadband internet. It was our hope that some of that would come to us for infrastructure. It appears that we won't get any of that for infrastructure, but we will have some access to improved access grants, which is the second part of, having families be able to afford it. When the federal government comes out with ARPA infrastructure money, we're hopeful that we can get some of that to help meet that need.
Okay, that was my question leading to, is if we do get some federal funds, maybe they can be used to actually get us where we want to be with the broadband. And if we had to make a reduction someplace, because it appears there will be a reduction today. It looks like broadband may be the best area to go to rather than dealing with the reserves, the revenues.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
So I was just wondering, how long would it take us to catch back up if we gave up the $20 million in broadband?
I'll reiterate what I mentioned this morning. Of the 500 million that the state has allocated for broadband, 400 million is for the infrastructure that would address those kinds of gaps. $0 will come to Memphis and Shelby County for that from the state. $100 million will be split across the other 96 counties. So by rough math, that's $1 million per county, and that's just to pay people a stipend to be able to access it. We do not know yet, but when the federal government infrastructure bill comes down, we know it will be administered by the states. And so while I don't have the definitive answer yet, my suspicion is that they will put that money on top of the existing program and again, allocate the infrastructure money to the rurals instead of the municipalities where we also have a gap.
That's my
worry.
Did Davidson County receive any of the money for the broadband?
No. Again, it will be Hamilton County, Davidson County, and Knox County and Shelby County will not receive any of the broadband build-out infrastructure from the 400 million. We will only receive what could be called our fair share of the 100 million for access, which is just a pool of money that could reduce someone's cost to actually pay for broadband.
Okay. Those are my questions, mainly dealing around broadband, because to me, that appears to be the area that if we had to make some reductions, let's try there versus trying to reduce the sales tax revenues and replacement.
As Chairman said, we originally came at this with about 25 million to make sure that we had some, and again, to Councilor Jones, yes, it was a bit of an internal compromise, but to get us to this point, I didn't want you to think that this is our best. We put everything up that we wanted. No, we cut lots before we got here, but there is not a magic number about 20 million. Plus or minus a little can be okay, but we do need to have something to get underway.
Okay.
And we think something is about 20 million.
Okay, thank you for the information. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Council Lady Johnson. Council Lady Logan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Now, Chief McGowan, thank you for the presentation as well. You left off or you mentioned a type of compromise, but that we should look to our partners or across the aisle, across the street for assistance as well. Can you elaborate on what you would like to see or what you recommend in terms of, if you all were to put forth some of the funds and what would we need to do subsequent to that?
So I think I'll again use the example. So kind of if for example with your proposal it was 4.6 million is the total cost of that. As I mentioned this morning, and many of you have mentioned, these are residents that are both of Memphis and Shelby County. So I think if we had a smaller amount that was dedicated to that from the city, it would be seen as a leading investment to get us underway. It could be a catalyst, I think, as the chairman mentioned, like we did with the Hospitality Hub originally. We started with a $250,000 council grant. That was matched by the county, and now we're both funding more than $1 million for Operation Hospitality Hub. So what we're doing is making a business case for another hub. In this case, we would make the leading investment of whatever you believe to be appropriate, and we would ask again for our partners at the state and the county if they would be willing to meet us to get the rest of the way there. So it could look like, if we were to do 50% of what it is, we would be stepping out there and asking them to help us match that.
So is that what you're proposing that we do across the board with the?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you, Councilwoman.
So is that what you're proposing that we do, with the proposals that we've placed earlier this morning?
So what my suggestion was there is, as we are, we have, 10 pounds of things we're trying to fit in a 5-pound sack here. So I'm trying to suggest that how do I work that down? And if that was a possibility that you'd be willing to consider, it reduces the overall demand on the budget without having, I've heard some other kind of things that are hard spots for people. So if we can, in the spirit of compromise there, you can put some money in and then we work with our partners to see if they'd be willing to match us. That would be an approach to getting some of the volume down to fit within the bucket that we have available.
Okay. So if we were to do that, that would, you said, so if we did 50% and then how would we approach the rest of it? Is that something you all would do?
I didn't hear the last part, but.
I'm sorry. You mentioned 50% and the rest, the remaining 50%, is that something that administration would do, reach out?
Well, we would certainly reach out to our partners in their administration. We would ask that you all would reach out to your partners across the street to say we have this initiative that we could come jointly together to help, in your case, help with homelessness.
Okay, because I do think that it's important that we don't have a long-term sustainable way to assist those that are experiencing homelessness or that need rapid rehousing or in transition, whether it be families, whether it be, we even have high school students that are finding themselves homeless, whether they lost a parent. And it also addresses, like I said earlier, so many of the things that we've been having issues with: blight, increased panhandling, mental health, just a plethora of things that this type of development would address. And so I think it's important however we can get there. So, I just wanted to get all the details because I'm open to that if it's going to get it done. Thank you.
Well done. I think you're hitting the nail on the head about where we can go. Councilor Logan, thank you. Councilman Warren, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess what I was trying to look at was our revenue replacement, and I just wanted to make sure that I understood this correctly. We are able to use that amount of ARPA funds once now based on the calculations. And if we had more funds next year, we would not be able to put the same amount into our reserve account to replace those funds. Is that correct?
Yes, Councilman, thank you for that question. The revenue replacement can only be calculated 4 times during this funding period, and it can only be calculated at the end of a calendar year. So we already have the calculation that was performed for the calendar year ended December 31st, 2020. That is the amount that you have in front of you in our proposal. We will not be able to calculate the next calendar year of revenue replacement until December of 2021. And that will be for 12 months, the calendar year of activity, which, as I mentioned this morning, goes from one end of one fiscal year to the beginning of another fiscal year for us.
So if we're looking at this and we have a larger deficit that we have to replace in the accounts receivable for next year, we'll be able to move money around to do that, because we've pretty much got every bit of our $160 million of ARPA budgeted in this budget. Is that correct?
The proposal that the administration presented to you, it encompasses the entire funding amount of $161 million, yes, sir.
Okay. I think that's a really important thing for us to realize, is that we have a chance to use this money to replenish our accounts receivable, our fund balance. And if we do that, what that does is it keeps other things acceptable. I seem like our loans that we get from major things along that line are much better. Is that correct?
So while the money cannot specifically go directly to your fund balance, that is
Right.
not an allowed use, it is considered revenue replacement in your current year. So basically what that means, if you approve the 20 million of revenue replacement, then we can bring $20 million of revenue into our current budget year.
And not use our fund balance. So that's how we're able to replenish our fund balance. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Warren. Councilor Easter Thomas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Chief Ford and McGowan, I know we haven't asked yet, but, and this may be a more broader question, but in your opinion, what line items have you previously presented that would be possible to be open to compromise or to help us fund some of our proposed projects? I know that some of my colleagues have brought up what, I've never heard the term second counter today, but have brought up what they really feel passionate about, which we all do. And also my colleague, Councilman Jones, had brought up his opinion on what was compromised and what wasn't. And I do think it unfair for us to present amendments and be told to look to quote unquote our 13 or to ask our colleagues across the street, which I still think is a great idea, which I plan on doing as well. But in your opinion, what line items have you already presented that would be the best options for compromising and helping transfer to help us with our amended request? Because I know that hasn't been asked before, so I'd be interested to hear.
I guess I'll start. I'm not sure what's unfair about the $13 million because that was one of the lessons we had from the CARES Act, was providing some latitude there because we knew there would be some council desires to do that, and we didn't want to encumber those with any particular preconceived notions. So I think that's our starting place. I mentioned to Chairman Colvett, or I think it was actually Councilwoman Johnson, $20 million of broadband is not an exact number, but I think having a meaningful, substantial investment there is important. And as I mentioned, I do think that it may be viewed as difficult to do to ask other people to fund, but again, the presentation that we made to you is based largely not on our insular view of the world, but what we hear from all 13 of you on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis. And so we try to bake that into what we're thinking and try to navigate that the best we can with the solution that we bring to you. But also, one of the things that we hear routinely is that the city of Memphis makes substantial investments and that others are not necessarily doing. So my suggestion there was only one of a track record of leadership that we have with other people stepping to the plate to help meet those investments that we're already making. So there is not one place that's easier than another. We are, in my view, pretty close here, but I would hope that we could continue to talk through the initiatives to see where we can get to with that kind of information being put forth, whether there are other options there or other ways to consider this. But I can't give you a specific line item and say, well, that one's frivolous. I just put it in there in hopes that I could pick it off. There are none of those. All of these were based on hard decisions and hard conversations.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I would also add, council members, as you recall, when we made this presentation, it was just a proposal in the early part of August. And we have spent the meeting since then bringing to you groups that were in support of those initiatives that we brought you, that gave you an opportunity to ask all the questions you possibly wanted them, or at least I would think, while they were there. When we talked about the public safety initiatives I don't know if you remember, but the seats were full of police officers and firefighters who were there to answer questions for you. When we talked about the Healthcare Navigator program, we had hard specifics for you. When we brought the youth initiatives, we talked about the initiatives that we currently have in place, the ones that you have approved already that are part of our operating budget, and the ones that we wanted to expand and add to, as you said, with this one-time funding. But also very different about the CARES Act funding and the ARPA funding are two very important components. One was the premium pay for employees. If you recall, in CARES Act funding, we were only allowed to provide hazard pay. And as you know, many of our employees continued to be here every single day. They continued to provide services to our community, and there was no way out of CARES funding to reward them for that. I think the Treasury saw that gap and deficiency and provided a program for us to provide premium pay to our employees on top of their pay. And you graciously, and even before the budget was passed, or I think simultaneously with our budget, approved $16 million in employee premium pay for the employees of the city of Memphis. And we are so appreciative of that. The other items that we brought before you, as Chief McGowan said, were very time sensitive. But also one very important different factor about the ARPA funding is the Treasury also realized that municipalities are desecrating their budgets. They're busting their budgets. They're spending unassigned fund balance, and that we needed an opportunity to provide stabilization to that budget while we continue to recover from the impacts of COVID-19. And those are two very different things. There are a lot of things that are in common with the CARES Act funding, such as providing help to households and the utility assistance and the other things, some of those other things that we've included in our proposal. But to Chief McGowan's point, each line that we brought to you was deliberate, was thought out, and brought to you for discussion, and that is the proposal that we've brought before you today, and we thank you so much for your consideration.
Good to go?
No. Thank you. And it definitely makes a whole lot of sense as far as that. You did bring up a point about having the representatives of the certain areas present when giving those discussions and council members asking questions. On a particular note, you brought up public safety. There were so many of our best in blue present, but some of the questions were not answered. So in particular, as far as fleet initiatives, do we have information on that, on where these cars would be placed? Are these officers living in places that need to be deterred crime from those cars being present? I know that was one in particular question we did not get answered, and that's why, for transparency, that I brought that up as a point of where my amendment could come from, as well as those proposed recruitment incentives. I would rather see that in a way of data like you all give us for where you all choose to put cameras, would be the same way I think would be easy to comprehend and understand on where you all would choose to put cars before we allocate $6.5 million to police cars, which still, I know I'm not beating a dead horse because it's talking about people, but it's from the last council meeting. I still can't see how the presence of police cars is helpful for the direct impact of COVID-19 for folks trying to build healthy environments, especially if we don't have the data of police officers living where those cars will be parked in the crime-ridden areas.
Good afternoon, Chief C.J. Davis. I would like to respond to council members' inquiry in reference to where cars would be placed. Our original request was 125 vehicles, and we were prepared to respond in this session and earlier on how we plan to allocate those vehicles. We started with the number of 125 just based on our various precincts. And to ensure that each precinct received 13 vehicles, 9 precincts, and just to start off with 13 vehicles at each one of those precincts. What we also did was identify how many officers we currently have living in the city. Right now, there are 900 plus officers that live in the city, give or take officers moving here and there. But right now, it's about 50% of our officers that actually live in the city. Based on the allocation of vehicles, we plan to look at patrol officers, those individuals who actually drive marked vehicles to and from, on the job, and look at crime data so that we could geo-fence those areas that would give the best benefit for officers living in the city, pretty much mapping their addresses in the areas that we believe would be most beneficial to see that level of visibility as opposed to just passing out vehicles. So we have had conversations, and it has worked for me in the past in my previous work to do just basically mapping and layering those addresses over the areas that we think are most beneficial for the city and the community members that would see those vehicles, and to utilize that strategy as a deterrent for crime in those communities.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, guys, we're going back across council members now. Is there any council member that wishes to speak for the first time? Are there any left?
Yes.
Logan spoke.
Yes.
You wish to speak?
Yes.
All right, Vice Chair Lady Swearingen, you're recognized.
Chief Davis.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of the cars going into the various communities, that's really music to my ears, because I have really been striving to re-establish and re-implement community policing.
Yes.
Previously, it did work in the neighborhoods for individuals to just have that police visibility within our community, made a significant difference. Additionally, it allowed the neighbors and residents to get a chance to know the policemen, and it increased relationships within the neighborhoods. I think it's a win-win situation, and I'm proud to hear you say it. We have been trying to, we had a resolution where community policing was supposed to begin in January, and it still has not been established. So I think this goes forward, and it really could not only deter crime, but it can decrease COVID, because the policemen would stop some of this gathering that we're having on these corners and unnecessary gathering that we're having among youth who are having violence. It will assist us with donuts that they're doing on the streets now, which is ultimately going to create some serious deaths. But I think it's a win-win, and I'm glad to hear you put forth the effort of reestablishing this.
Thank you, Member. Thank you, Council Member. I'll also add that community policing and community engagement is one of our priorities. It's certainly one of my priorities in the police department. And not only will these vehicles be assigned to individuals that live in those communities, they will also be responsible for participating outside of their work at various community events and having that presence outside of the normal workday. So it's not just assigning equipment, but maximizing our investment and holding our officers responsible, and ensuring that the philosophy of community engagement and community policing flows throughout the department.
There was a time where they would have discounts for policemen and teachers so that they would be able to move into these neighborhoods. Perhaps that's a discussion that we can renew.
Maybe so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Okay, guys, we're going back through the queue again. Just a reminder before we start to get into the individual amendments, we're aiming our questions at. You want to go ahead and just move on? Let's get into it.
No, fine.
You have a question for administration? And Councilman Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you. Chief Davis, a couple of questions again regarding the numbers. So you did conduct the mapping, and initially we were at 125, but I think that it was part of the discussions in council where we said, okay, what was the number? So was that number before the mapping at 125, and after the mapping it remained at 125? Has that number changed? Has it gone up or down? My recollection is.
We have not conducted the mapping as of yet.
Okay.
What we did is we started with that 13 vehicles per precinct as just a place to start. It certainly doesn't cover all of the areas that we would like to see visibility, but it certainly covers those various different precincts. And we would be actually mapping the placement of vehicles based on residents and crime data. But we haven't gotten all of that layering done yet. I wanted to make sure that I did let you know that we had 900 plus commissioned officers living in the city. So the 125 vehicles would be distributed to officers who are on patrol, who work in a patrol function and live within the city and live in an area that we have identified as being one of the areas that could use some extra attention and visibility because of the crime.
Okay. So with that being said, colleagues, I'm a bit leery in us approving an allocation for 125 where that number may actually be 90 or it could be 60. We don't know. So I would think that to have that data, and just because we have an equal representation, we shouldn't put 13 cars in 9 different just to be equal. We should deploy those where they're mostly needed. And I know that you've talked about in the past that, part of your strategy is to deploy the assets where they're mostly needed.
Yes.
And so I'm just.
Well, I will say
yes.
that the original request was 600. We pared that number down just so that we have a good place to start with a take-home car program as a pilot for all of the different precincts. Just based on my knowledge of the crime problems around the city, 13 vehicles in neighborhoods, we would definitely want to expand that program in the future. The city itself has enough of various types of crime, and they're different crime problems. Some communities, have drug problems, some have shootings and so on. But those 13 vehicles, depending on where they're located, we would want to expand that program. To take a guess, if I don't have all of the data in front of me, which is somewhat difficult, but we can get the data. We just didn't have that mapping done based on those addresses yet.
Okay. Thank you for those comments. But colleagues, I would just say that, before we make a decision like that, whether it's, if we did 600, but we have only 900 officers that live in the city limits of Memphis, I think that begs another question as far as deploying these number of vehicles. I was just doing some quick math, colleagues, and this sort of goes back to what Mr. McGowan talked about from the standpoint of what the state is allocating. The 4 counties that are only getting $100 million, we represent 35% of the state's total population, but we're only getting 20% of the dollars for broadband. Well, 100 million of 500 is allocated for those 5 counties. 400 is going. Mr. McGowan, am I? What?
I wish you were right, Councilman.
It's even worse.
It's 100 million divided by 96 counties. So it's of the 400 million for infrastructure, that's all going to the rurals and none to the major metropolitan areas. The 100 million is for access grants. Now, They haven't defined how that will be done, but that will likely be on a per capita basis. So we're about 10% of the state's population here, or maybe between 10 and 20%, 10 and 15%. So depending on how they do it, we could have access to that much. Again, the program hasn't been formally laid out, but you're right. And that's what I talked about earlier, the broadband. That's what I'm worried about, is not getting our, quote, fair share.
Yeah, gosh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Councilman Carlisle, you're recognized, or you want to go straight to it?
It may be both. It's, this is gonna take so long just because of the way that we're not in committee. It sounds like everybody is ready to push ahead. And we actually have two members that aren't here. So what I'm wondering is if the simplest thing to do is to make a motion to, and I'm looking around here, so I'm looking kind of for some nods here. I was wondering, maybe we make a motion here to pull 27 million back, figure out what we really want to do, but move the ball forward on the things that we need to do. So I think that we can work within the 20 million to get a lot of these things done. So, yeah, 13 million from the council initiatives, and we can hold on. Excuse me, everybody. I just had a Reese's peanut butter cup. It was delicious. It's gonna lighten it up before we get into this thing.
Thank you.
I am included the summer youth internship. I'm gonna put MAP on there. It doesn't mean that we won't do these things. Opportunity Youth, Manhood, and the Public Service Corps. And our 13 million for council initiatives should get us somewhere around $20 million today. And we move forward on revenue replacement, city cost accelerator, city asset recovery, home repairs, broadband infrastructure, community service, animal services, GVIP, public safety initiatives. I'd also hold back on mortgage assistance as well. So that's roughly $22-ish million. And it'll give us a chance to at least get some of this money out the door, or at least appropriated. Or we can hold the whole thing, or we can sit here for the next hour and a half doing 2 amendments at a time.
All right.
All right. I'll motion it, then we'll discuss it. If you want to hold that, I'm open to it. So I'm going to move. Let me repeat this one more time.
Thank you.
I'm going to move to divide the question. Just give me a second.
I like where you're going with it. Keep going.
All right, I'm going to move to divide the question and put on the table to vote tonight revenue replacement at 39.35 million, 654,000. Construction cost accelerator at 5 million, city community asset revenue recovery at 5 million, Boys and Girls Club community program support at 9 million, the micro grocery initiative at 396,851,000, community support for home repairs at 5 million, community infrastructure on broadband, I'll move that to 18 million. So we'll cut 2 out of that. Mobile library community service at 450,000, 970,000. Animal service community support initiatives at 600,000. GVIP at 4.8 million. I'm not going to read all of it, but all the public safety initiatives, and hold back everything else, which should be well over 22 million at this point.
Okay, hang on. Make sure I'm squared away on this one. All right, so you've moved to divide the question. And we're at this point it's been properly seconded. We're discussing the specific items that you pulled out to vote on, beginning with that 39.35 million. Okay. Do I have a friendly amendment, or are we just clarifying?
I have a friendly amendment.
We have a friendly amendment. Please share.
I think it's very vital for us to include mobile vaccinations.
I accept.
Friendly amendment to include mobile vaccinations in this divided question. Okay, I'm still with you. All right. Is there any objection to the dividing of the question?
Object.
Okay, Tom. I have an objection to the dividing of the question. Therefore, do we discuss the dividing of the question? No, we go straight to a vote. Alan tells me to go straight to a vote. All right, so this is special item 1. This is to divide the question as enumerated. Okay, so it's just simply to divide the question. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay, so let me be very clear, make sure I'm squared away. We're dividing the question. We're voting on whether we can, in fact, are going to divide the question. So a yes vote divides it, a no vote does not divide it. We clear?
Yes, Johnson.
Council Leader Johnson has a question. I'm not supposed to entertain debate. Please. Hit your mic.
I'm sorry, could you please explain dividing the vote in this situation?
Okay. All you're voting on is whether we divide the question as it's outlined. Okay?
Make that clear. I'm not clear on that.
All right, then let me explain. Alan, do you want to jump in? Maybe you can be a little more clear than I can.
Okay, you've got one question on the table. The motion is to divide it into two questions.
Okay, let's go.
Two questions, not one, two. So the question is, do you want to divide it into two questions? First vote. If you do, then you will consider them separately.
I don't understand.
I didn't have my point, but I don't.
See, she doesn't either.
Okay, all you're voting on is to simply say, can we divide the question? Okay?
The question, we've been through a lot. Is the question what Carlisle just ended up with? Or
Correct.
are we talking back to the resolution initially? What are we asking for?
All right, if we successfully divide the question, then basically we will discuss Carlisle's motion, the way he broke it out, and we'll vote on that. Then we'll vote on the remaining things, which what I'm hearing is we'll probably hold it for 2 weeks because that 22 million and figure out what to do with it. So a yes vote divides the question. We then debate it, Carlisle's points. If we approve that, then we'll probably hold the second piece, which are the leftovers, the 22 mil.
A divided question are those that I have a check mark by.
Okay,
We're saying yes to that. A divided, that means we get to vote on those separately.
Because I had a motion, so I have to address the motion.
Yes, I'm cool with that.
Yes, I can do it if we, whether we divide it or not, I can come back. Okay, we cool?
Yeah, so when you divide it, it's saying we are going to agree to divide. That's one thing.
Correct.
And then the second thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And then everything else we take.
Oh, okay. I got you.
There are 7 other items that need to be just to go forward.
We're good.
Then that does not include that.
We're good. Okay. I'll come back to the queue once we are not debating this question. So to be clear, do you want to divide the question or not? Special item 1, it's been moved properly.
With his amendment.
As he recommended.
Right.
Prepare the screen. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 members at the dais. We have a quorum. Pull up screen. Start the voting. Do not close the voting yet. Don't touch it till I say so. Maybe. Do you want that spreadsheet, Sam? Can we email Sam the spreadsheet, please? Okay. Well, it looks like you might just make a deadline. Okay, the screens are open to divide the question as Mr. Carlisle presented it. Fair enough? So yes vote divides it as Carlisle presented it. Everybody had a chance to vote? That's going to? Show us the screens. Oh!
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, no.
We're gonna be here for a while.
No. Jones, no. Logan, no. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, no. Warren, no. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Hold the vote. I'm not declaring that vote held.
Do that. Do that.
The motion to divide fails. Would you like to offer a second motion to divide the question but lower the broadband to 15 million?
Move to hold this item
Okay,
until the next meeting.
okay,
It's gonna,
cool. All right. We have a motion to, okay, I get where you're not wanting to divide. You're okay with that. We now have a motion to hold. Who gives my second?
Second.
Seconded by Smiley. Council Lady, we can debate this. Council Lady Logan, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you, Chair. First of all, going back to what Chief Ford mentioned about them bringing these items to us and us asking questions, there were several questions that we had. There were several comments made that we did not, we didn't understand some of the progress that had been made, maybe through manhood, through opportunity youth. So there were a number of things and questions that were out there about these items anyway. So we didn't approve any of them initially. So that's the first thing. And the second thing, in terms of the question or where we are right now, we still don't know, because Chief McGowan made a comment that we could do 50% and then look at the other ones. And I think that was a viable solution, but we didn't explore that. We just moved on to something else. So there are a number of things that we need to clarify. First and foremost, the things that are even listed here were not things that the council, we were not even comfortable with all of them being on here in the first place, because we didn't know what the youth services support initiatives were doing, as opposed to the community support services. We had a lot of questions that have not been answered, and I think in order for us to vote if they should get this money, those questions need to be answered. They never were.
That's exactly.
But that may be problematic in that if we go ahead and vote on these, well, I can understand the revenue recovery and those things that are pressing, but anything else, we still have questions about the validity of the progress that was made, and if they're duplicating services, if we want to give that much money. Not to say that they're not valid, we just had questions that have not been answered.
Okay, thank you, Council Lady Logan. Councilman Jones, do you wish to speak on the hold?
No.
Outstanding. Councilman Smiley is not with us. Council Lady Easter Thomas, you're recognized. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Doc, you're recognized.
Yes, I think no matter when we do this, it's going to be relatively difficult. We're going to have to talk, and it's going to take some time. And I was under the impression that what we were going to do is come back and just sort of have an ARPA meeting where we discussed this and went through each one of these projects. I was very interested in hearing Chief McGowan discuss how much money from ARPA went across the street. And I really appreciate the need for us to partner with not only the county, but also with the state on all of these programs that we've got that we know are ARPA qualified. And what I was planning on doing or hoping to do is I was going to reduce my ask for these programs and then go to the state and go to the county to try to continue all the programs working. And I think if you did that to the degree that I'm proposing to, or I would have done on mine, we could have gone through each one of these programs and we've been done tonight. But I think we're not going to do that at this point. I think we're going to, delay it. But in my mind, I think it would be good if we had a meeting where we could sit down and work through each one of these and actually, y'all could hear the programs that I was bringing back, the communities in school and the education to progress. Those sort of things I think are important for us to hear. So if there's a way that we can, bring those back in a separate meeting where we can actually take the time and get the presentations, then I think we can make the right decisions. And also, I think I'm going to ask for a lot less. It seems to me like what we need to do is we need to partner with everybody else that got ARPA, and we can use our money like seed money, just as Chief said, on each one of these projects. And I guarantee you that if you look at that and run the numbers and drop the numbers by half on all of it, we've replenished everything that was taken out of revenue replacement and probably restored most of the other things that look like they've been cut here on the document we have. So I'm going to vote to hold with the request that as a friendly amendment, we have a special meeting to vote on ARPA alone at some point in the next week, if that would be accepted as a friendly amendment. Okay, thank you. You can ask for one, can't you? Okay.
Thank you, Doc. Councilor Easter Thomas. Not Councilor Easter Warren. Councilor Easter Thomas.
My husband would not like that.
No.
Thank you, Chair.
Probably not.
Thank you, Chair. I do echo some of the sentiments that Councilman Warren said, and also the effort of Councilman Carlisle to just get some of these more pressing items out of the way. However, to echo what Councilman Logan is saying, when you have more than 75%, 50% of the list that we're given that is seen as pressing, we may need to be able to go back, whether it's a special meeting or budget committee, whatever, Councilman Warren, to be able to look at these things in detail, take into account the new information that we've learned just today, or new suggestions that we've gotten just in the last hour, to really be able to sift through and see how can we really impact our communities that are suffering not only before the pandemic, but definitely now due to the exacerbation of health issues and their impact on their communities. I know for one, I want to be able to, in 5-6 years, look back and say, did I put my vote or my position towards something that's really going to change the trajectory of the people in our communities? Not just, and this is not picking on one thing in particular, but not just things as though would seem as though they need to be funded at this time because of whatever arguments may have been coming out before. But to just make sure we're investing in people. And I think we need more time to do that. I think today seems a lot rushed. There seem to be a lot of emotions and passions flowing that are blocking seeing the competency of what we're actually doing right now. So I do support the hold of this for another 2 weeks, or a hold of this until we can get enough meetings that we can, just to make sure that we meet that deadline that Chief Ford already said we apply for an extension. So since we do have an extension, to be able to use that time to make sure we're making the right decisions so that all of us in the years coming forward can look back and say, I'm glad I put money towards that. Or not saying, man, I wish we wouldn't have spent $25 million on X. We just want to make sure that we're making a good investment in people in our city of Memphis. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilor Easter Thomas. Councilor Johnson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. May I suggest that we go through all the recommendations by the city council members and agree on which ones we're going to support there. I think from the discussion we had today that some of us may be willing to make a reduction in the initial amount that they requested. Once we have that amount, we then can turn to the city, the administration rather, and ask, this is what we truly want. How can you help us get what we would like to see happen? And maybe we can compromise in that way. That way, we're not necessarily voting against what the administration's recommended. We can just vote amongst ourselves. We support that initiative from each person. And I think it'll be a quicker process if we address it in that fashion. And that's what I have to say at this time. And thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Councilor Johnson. We have a motion to hold. I see no other members of the queue. I assume you're ready to vote. Let's call this special item number 2, a yes vote. holds it until a predetermined time where we may or may not have a specially called meeting to address this issue. Moved by Carlisle, seconded by probably, I guess, Warren. Go ahead and prepare the votes. Warren. Smiley. Cool. Give me a screen. Yes vote is to hold. All right, sure. Screens, show the vote, please.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, no. Swearigan, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, no.
All right, thank you. That hold passes. We'll address this at a future date, if not 2 weeks. All right, Madam Comptroller, call item 28, please. Wait a minute. Yeah, go ahead and call 28.
28.
Time, Chief Ford, you're recognized.
Thank you, council. I just wanted to follow up on Chairwoman Logan's comment. We did, during the August 17th meeting, bring everyone back in and made presentations and had written presentations to the questions that had been asked during the August 3rd meeting. So if you could let me know if there are any additional questions that were not answered at the August 17th meeting, Councilwoman, we'll make sure we get those answers to you for your consideration. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you. Council Lady Logan, you're recognized.
The questions, well, I can get those questions to you directly. They were in reference to the purpose and duties of the people participating in some of the programs that you brought forth. So I'll get those to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Madam Comptroller, call item 28, please.
Item number 28 is a resolution approving grant submissions and matching funds for City of Memphis Parks Division and Memphis Botanic Garden, District 5, Super District 9. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Parks and Neighborhoods. There's a request for same night minutes.
Council Lady Logan, you're recognized. Committee met, recommends. Been moved electronically by Council Lady Logan, please. Moved by Council Lady Logan, second by Councilman Canali. Seeing no members of the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 28. Please prepare the screen.
Council members, please cast your votes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Swearigan, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Thank you. Item passes. Colleagues, item number 4, we held. I am told that the owner will be out of town in our September meeting. So without objection, let's hold item 4 until our first meeting in October. Is there any objection? Seeing none, item 4 is held until the first meeting of October. Madam Comptroller, call item 29. Item 4, Mr. Binky texted asking, he says his owner is out of town next meeting and asked for a hold. Do you object? Okay. Without objection, we hold till October. Please call item 20. He didn't text you, Councilman Canali? Oh. Maybe we ought to hold him for another month then. Call item 29.
Item number 29 is a resolution to accept and appropriate funding in the amount of $10 million from the state of Tennessee for the construction of the Memphis Sports and Event Center, part of the Liberty Park redevelopment project. CD 02016 is the project number. District 4, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development. There is a request for same night minutes.
Thank you. Council Lady Johnson.
Chair, the committee met on this item and received a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
All right, it's been moved by Council Lady Johnson, second by Councilman Smiley. Seeing no members of the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 29. Please prepare the screen. Cast your votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
Item passes. Thank you. Please call item 30.
Item number 30 is a resolution to accept and appropriate revenues of $72,000 from Count Castle Fiber LLC related to its distributed antenna system in the Bill Street Historic District as a pass-through to Downtown Memphis Commission for the maintenance and improvement of said district. District 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Council Lady Johnson.
Chair, committee met, and this item received a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
Could you do so electronically again? Thank you. Been moved by Johnson, second by Canali. Seeing no members of the queue, assume you're ready to vote on item 30. Please prepare the screen. Cast your votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 31.
Item number 31 is a resolution appropriating the sum of $964,857.31 chargeable to the FY 22 operating budget by appropriating funds to the Division of Housing and Community Development Affording Housing Program and Memphis Housing Authority Low-Income Housing Program accounts. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Councilwoman Johnson.
Vice Chair, the committee met on this item and received a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
Please do so electronically. This item has been moved by Councilwoman Johnson, second by Councilwoman Logan. Let's clear the screens for a vote, please. Let's cast our votes.
Thank you. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passes. Madam Controller, item number 32, please.
Item number 32 is a resolution to accept and appropriate funding in the amount of $30,800,000 from the Economic Development Growth Engine for Memphis and Shelby County, better known as EDGE, as the conduit agency for a grant awarded under the Fast Track Economic Development Program from the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. CIP project number CD 18109 and SW 02144, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development. There is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilwoman Johnson.
Vice Chair, the committee met on this item and received a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
Thank you very much. This item has been moved by Councilwoman Johnson, seconded by Councilwoman Logan. Let's please clear the screen so we can cast our votes.
We're voting on item number 32. Please cast your votes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, please, item number 33.
Item number 33 is a resolution to accept and appropriate revenues, $70,000 from Crown Castle Fiber LLC related to its distributed antenna system in the Memphis Sports and Events Center at Liberty Park for the ongoing redevelopment of Liberty Park, District 4, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development. There is a request for same-night minutes for this item.
Thank you very kindly. Councilwoman Johnson?
Vice Chair, the committee met on this item and received a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
Thank you very kindly. May we clear the screen so we can cast our votes, please?
Moved by Johnson and second by Carlisle.
Thank you very kindly, Madam Comptroller. Yeah.
I have prepared the screen for voting. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Mr. Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, could you please call out item number 34?
Item number 34 is a resolution to accept the appropriation and allocation of Department of Treasury funding through Tennessee Housing Development Agency in the amount of $23,227,932.63 for the Division of Housing and Community Development's emergency rental and utility assistance in response to the pandemic. This affects all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development, and there's a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you very kindly. Councilwoman Johnson?
Vice Chair, this committee met on this issue and received a favorable recommendation, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilwoman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Canali.
That's correct.
May we please clear the screens?
How would you like to vote? Smiley, what you doing?
Yes.
Council Lady Johnson, would you like to cast your vote? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Item number 35.
Item number 35 is a resolution to appropriate $500,000 for CIP project number IT-01001, desktop and application infrastructure and ITIL organization. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Thank you very kindly. Councilman Carlisle, I think you chaired this committee. Can you do it in the absence of Councilman Ford, please? Thank you very kindly. Can you move it electronically? You need a move by Carlisle, seconded by Logan. Let's clear the screens so we can cast our votes, please.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Item number 36.
Item number 36 is the resolution to appropriate $1 million for CIP project number IT-01002, cybersecurity infrastructure upgrade, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle. This item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Warren. Let's please clear the screens so we can cast our votes.
Council members, please cast your votes. Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, please call item number 37.
Item number 37 is a resolution to appropriate $1 million for CIP project number IT-01003, Operations Infrastructure Enhancements, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division. There is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle?
Committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Need a second? Is someone, this item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, second by Councilwoman Logan. Let's please clear the screen so we can cast our votes.
You may cast your votes. Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Councilmember Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, item number 38, please.
Item number 38 is a resolution to appropriate $1 million for CIP project number IT-01004, Implementation Modernization, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Finance Division, and there is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle?
Yes, ma'am. The committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
Can you do it electronically?
Thank you.
We need a second, please.
Thank you.
This item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Jones. Please allow us to cast our votes.
You may cast your votes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passes. Item number 39, please, Madam Comptroller.
Item number 39 is a resolution in support of Afghan and Haitian refugees and notifying the City of Memphis administration, State of Tennessee, the United States federal government that the City of Memphis stands ready to welcome refugees. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by council members Easter Thomas, Jones, Logan, Smiley, and Warren. There is a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilwoman Logan. Please prepare us for voting.
And cast your vote. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson abstained. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, let's please review item number 40.
Item number 40 is a resolution establishing a Metropolitan Government Study Committee, selecting co-chairs and requesting the County Commission adopt a similar resolution. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Councilman Carlisle. There's a request for same-night minutes.
Councilman Carlisle?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. The committee met this morning, recommend approval, and I so move.
Been moved by Councilman Carlisle, second by Councilman Canali. Please prepare us for voting.
Please cast your votes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Morgan, no.
Mickey Mouse.
That's Mickey Mouse. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Council Lady Johnson, yes. And the chair also, yes, please. Chairman Colette, yes.
This item passed.
Thank you, colleagues, except for Worth.
You ready for 41?
Madam Comptroller, please take us to item number 41.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Item number 41 is a resolution additive change order for an existing contract 36784 to transfer and appropriate additional funds to construct the STP Group 6 resurfacing, CIP FY22, project number PW01264, Districts 3, 4, and 5, Super Districts 8 and 9. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley?
In approval, and I so move.
It's been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Morgan. Please allow us to cast our votes.
Please cast your votes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, please carry us to the item number 42.
Item number 42 is a resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $2,195,063 for construction of NC South Wwtf Maintenance Building Modification, CIP project number SW04009 FY22, District 7, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley?
Madam Chair, the committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Canali. Please prepare the screen so we can cast our votes.
Please cast your votes.
I can do yours, what you want.
Okay. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colvett, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, item number 43, please.
Item number 43 is a resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $5,607,162 for the construction of the T.E. Maxson Wwtf Administration Building South Plant Expansion, CIP project number SW02033 FY2022, CIP budget District 6, Super District 8. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley?
Madam Chair, the committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
This item has been,
Let me tell you. Moved by Smiley, second by Canali electronically.
Canali, I guess because it's not showing up. This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Canali. Please prepare so we can cast our votes.
Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, item number 44, please.
Item number 44 is a resolution seeking approval for transfer of sewer assets in unincorporated Shelby County, the Chapel Hill Water Treatment Plant located at 9856 Betlou Drive to Shelby County. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley?
Madam Chair, the committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilwoman Johnson. Please prepare the screen so we can cast our votes.
Please cast your votes. Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes.
This item passed. Item number 45, please, Madam Comptroller.
Item number 45 is a resolution establishing CIP project number GS 22106, FY 22 major modification asphalt by transferring FY 22 allocations and appropriating the transferred allocations for repaving the entire police impound lot. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley? Madam Chair, the committee recommend approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilwoman Johnson. Please prepare so we may cast our votes. 46.
Do it. You ready? Thank you. Canali, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
This item passes. Item number 46, please, Madam Comptroller.
Item number 46 is a resolution establishing CIP project number GS 22105, FY 22 major modification carpentry by transferring FY 22 allocations and appropriating the transferred allocations for various renovations throughout the city, including but not limited to interior flooring replacements and solve water infiltration issues at Police Training Academy. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There is a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley.
Madam Chair, the committee recommend approval, and I so move.
May we get a second electronically, please? This has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Jones. Let's please allow us to cast our vote.
You may cast your votes. Mr. Canali. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
This item passes. Madam Comptroller, can you please take us to the regular agenda, item number 24?
Yes, Vice Chairman. Yes. I think I will.
24.
Agenda, thank you.
I don't think.
Item number 24.
Wait. We already did 28.
No, 47. Am I being redirected?
Oh, 47. That's from 47 to 51. Yes, ma'am. Yes, 51. Not 51.
What's done already?
Okay. Madam Comptroller, item number 47.
Thank you. Item number 47 is a resolution establishing CIP project number GS 22104, FY 22 major modification, HVAC by transferring FY 22 allocations and appropriating the transferred allocations for adding humidifiers to units at the police heliport, HVAC and or boiler replacements or upgrades, freezer and incinerator replacements at various locations throughout the city. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division. There's a request for same night minutes.
Councilman Smiley.
Madam Chair, the committee recommend approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Canali. Please clear the screen so we can cast our votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
Item number 47 passed. Madam Comptroller, item number 48, please.
Item number 48 is a resolution establishing CIP project number GS 22103, FY twenty-two major modification plumbing by transferring FY two allocations and appropriating the transferred allocations for restroom renovations, repair and ADE compliance conversion, and Liberty Bohome Team Locker Room Drain Line repair. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division, and there's a request for same 9 minutes.
Councilman Smiley.
Madam Chair, the committee may recommend approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Please clear the screen so we may cast our vote.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, item number 49, please.
Item number 49 is a resolution establishing CIP project number GS 22102, FY 22 major modification electric by transferring FY 22, allocating and appropriating the transferred allocations for outdoor lighting in the Memphis Animal Services Play Yard and replacement of 300+ recessed can light fixtures with LEDs at the Pink Palace Museum. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division.
Councilman Smiley.
Madam Chair, the committee met, recommended approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Smiley, seconded by Councilman Jones. Please clear the screen so we may cast our votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Somali, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, item number 50, please.
Item number 50 is a resolution establishing CIP project number GS 22101, FY 22 major modification roofing by transferring FY 22 allocations and appropriating the transferred allocations for the repairs of various buildings throughout the city by applying waterproof coating. All council districts, this resolution is sponsored by the Public Works Division.
Councilman Smiley.
Madam Chair, the committee met, recommended approval, and I so move. I think I'm gonna leave my mic on.
Item number.
Seconded by Warren.
Please clear the screen so we may cast our vote.
You may cast your vote. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. And Chairman Colbert, yes.
This item passed. Madam Comptroller, could you please take us to the regular agenda, item number 24?
Thank you. And that will take us to appointments. Light Authority of Memphis, an appointment for Evan G. Collins. Memphis and Shelby County Downtown Parking Authority, an appointment for Elliot Embry. And that concludes our appointments, Vice Chairwoman.
Councilman Carlisle.
The committee met, recommends approval, and I so move.
This item has been moved by Councilman Carlisle, seconded by Councilman Morgan. Please clear the screen so we may cast our votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colbert, yes.
This item passed. Item number 25 has been held. Item number 26, please, Madam Comptroller.
Item number 26 is a resolution appropriating $88,000 in GO bonds for project number FS 04012, personal protective equipment, self-contained breathing apparatus, all council districts. This resolution is sponsored by Fire Services.
Go ahead. This item has been moved by Councilman Colbert, seconded by Councilman Morgan. Please clear the screen so we may cast our votes.
You may cast your votes. Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colette, yes.
This item passed. Item number 27, please, Madam Controller.
My pleasure. Item number 27 is a resolution authorizing the amendment of the FY 2022 operating budget by accepting the appropriation and allocation of conference scholarships, donations, and the registration and exhibit fees for the 2021 A Taste of Memphis at the Liberty Bowl in the amount of approximately $20,000, and the submission of all required documents to collect, obligate, and expend conference revenue. All council districts. This resolution is sponsored by the Division of Housing and Development.
Councilwoman Johnson.
And it received a favorable recommendation, and I so move. And also, for the record, let it be known that that event has been rescheduled to September the 30th, for those of you who want to participate, September the 30th.
Can you bring the screen up? Did you move it, Councilman? I can't see it on the screen. Did you all move it electronically?
Good Lord.
Oh. This item has been moved by Councilwoman Johnson, seconded by Councilman Carlisle. Please clear the screen so we may cast our votes.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Smiley, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Chairman Colette, yes.
This item passed.
Vice-Woman Swearingen, I don't see more items.
Thank you very kindly. Mr. Chair,
Pitch it to me for some reason.
do you have any comments?
I have reviewed our same night minutes for items 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50, because we held 51. So, these are same night minutes, and I so move. I apologize, but
Yeah, he changed it.
it's cool, I got it. Moved by Colbert, second by Warren.
Okay, this item has been moved by Colbert, seconded by Warren. Please clear the screen so we may cast our votes.
And I get to read the letter to the editor.
Canali, yes. Carlisle, yes. Easter Thomas, yes. Johnson, yes. Jones, yes. Logan, yes. Morgan, yes. Swearingen, yes. Warren, yes. Colette, yes.
This item passed. Mr. Chair, I think we've received one comment. Card, got a card?
Yes, thank you, Madam Vice Chairman. And it's always fun to read to you guys again. I have, as we all know, I have a face for radio. So it's my pleasure to read Courtney, and I'm gonna need a 2-minute clock. This one's kind of long. This is from Courtney Thomas, 1680 Jackson Avenue, Memphis, 3. I don't have to read it? Then, Madam Vice Chairman, we have no letters to the council. We are good to go, and I move to adjourn. You object?
Then moved by Councilman Corbett, seconded by Smiley.
Oh,
This meeting is-
time. I move to recess. I move to recess. Because we might come back.